Spoon here from EWPRO. So looking at the DXY on the daily time frame, ideally we get this C down and then we can load up down the bottom here, to go and break the top. Another scenario is, we do have a possible bull hidden here. So this correction in here may not be over and we get another one up in here just breaking that top, and then we get an A, a B and a C down. So that's another scenario, because we have that possible bull hidden there. Or we just get a correction in here and another one down. On the H4, we have the 5 down. We were looking for the 5 down and we got that now. And we have bullish divergence. There really isn't a buy setup on this yet. But after these 5 down, we may get a larger correction than these over here and then another one down. So we really got to see what if this is corrective or it turns bullish. For the bulls, I'd really like to see a high here and then a correction, and then I could look for that bull hidden to go and break the top. Either way, if we do get a nice correction or a flag, you can look for at least 3 up. On the H1, really got to be careful, because there is a bear hidden here as well. So this wave 5 may not be over yet. This H4 wave 5. So if we have a quick look on the M15, we can see how choppy this is. It's quite choppy. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we do get another one down and that bear hidden plays out, give us another one down. As soon as we get a lower low, you could look for a buy again. But to be buying into this, like, there's no buy setup to buy here at this stage. Like I mentioned, for me to buy, I'd like to see this possible bear hidden here. This bear hidden here. Take that possible bear hidden out, give us a nice impulse up in here, taking that out, and then look for a buy setup. That's the safest way. Other than that, it can come down and give us a lower low here. AU, I'll just take some of these off. We've gone and broken the low again. As you can see, I was looking for an A, a B, and a C up. That's still possible, and this is a flat in the middle here. But eventually, I'll be looking for this larger A, B, and C up. Still looking for that. On the H4, I was looking for a C down. We got this nice impulse up from the low, an A, a B, and we got this C down. I was only looking for a C down in here just to go and break that low. Instead, it's really turned motive. So again, we may get another correction similar size to this over here, and we get another one down before we get that A, B, C. So it is going to be quite difficult at this stage. We've had this big run down, so I would be scalping into a B wave, like a possible B wave in here, and we get a C down, or that's the complete flat for the wave C down, breaking the low, and we get that larger C up. At this stage, by the look of the price action on the lower time frames, I'd just be looking for a correction. So if you're looking for the buy, just be careful. Get it to break even as soon as you can, because it may just be a correction and we get another one down in here. GU on the daily, I was looking for more upside, and we still may get that. Like, I'm looking at that A, B, and a C up. This wave C has gone and broken the ending point of that wave A. Ideally, it's not finished yet, and we still get more upside. But there is that possibility that that is finished. That this C up in here. The H4, we got 5 up. We were looking for these 5 up. We got it. And, we got all this bearish divergence. So, it's not the time to be looking for buys. We got a nice impulse down here from the top. So if we get a correction in here, this will be a nice sell for at least 3 down. It can come back to this 50 fib here, or even lower. If I quickly go back to the H4, we got the 5 up, like I mentioned, and here's the 50 fib. So, price action may come down here, give us a correction in here, may even come down to this 161.8. And if that is the C up on the higher time frame, this could turn like motive and go and break this low. So if we get a correction in here, definitely look for it. On the M15, we may get a correction in here and a 5th wave down for like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 before we start to get that larger correction. So you will have to be careful, on the lower time frames, to wait for that 5th wave down. More than likely, we'll get a bear hidden in here, get another one down, and then we get that larger correction, and then we can look for that sell. It should be a nice sell. We just got to wait for that correction. EU on the daily, looking for that larger A, B, looking for that larger C up. It hasn't broken the ending point of wave A yet, this wave C. So very similar to GU. We got the 5 up. Looking for a little bit larger correction in here before it went. But we did have that bull hidden in here, I believe. So we got the 5 up with bearish divergence. At this stage, GU looks a lot better because, GU's come down and broken the ending point of this wave 4. So ideally, EU does the same thing, comes down, breaks this low here, then gives us a correction, and we can all look for that at least the C down. It should be a nice trade if this one plays out, but GU looks like the best at this stage. There is no sell set up on EU at this stage, and I wouldn't be looking for the buy because we already have that H4 bearish divergence in the wave 5. NU, I'm looking for that A, B, and we get this C up in here. This was looking very corrective, like I've mentioned, over the last few weeks. Unfortunately, it didn't come down and break the low like this spike here. Last week, I was looking for that wave Z up as that correction. Like I mentioned, this can be a W, X, Y, X2, and we get a Z up before we go and break the low. We've got a nice impulse down. So again, if we get a correction in here, we can look for a sell to go and break this low. And then I'd be looking for the longer term buy in that wave C on the daily. Remove that because that's already played out. So yeah, I mean GU at this stage is the better of the lot that I've gone through, because GU's at a high, whereas NU, it's at a low. So do you really want to, you know, sell this or get more pips out of the GU? Right, basically, I'd prefer to be looking at the GU for a sell. GY, like I've been mentioning for a long time, pretty much staying out of this, as this could go either way. This could have gone up in here or come down. So it looks like it's coming down, but it's still pretty much untradeable. We had that A, B, C here, and we never went and broke that low for an A, B, C. So this is quite complex. Go down to the H4. We didn't come from a top. This is the top here, not here. So I dare say on the lower time frame, you'd be looking for a wave 4 and then trading a wave 5 down. So we got like 1, 2, 3. You wait for a wave 4 and then you can trade a wave 5 down. It's just scalping. We may get a bear hidden in here in this wave 4, and you could look for that wave 5 down. But again, it's really just scalping. There's better opportunities on other pairs at this stage. UY, really just looking at this last piece. At this impulse down, we come up. We had 3 up in here with bearish divergence. I'd still be looking for a sell on the daily, but we really got to wait for a nice correction before we can look for a sell. Yeah, really need to wait for this correction and see that it's corrective before I'd even attempt to sell this, because this may be, I mean, the price action really isn't fitting it, but this could be an A, B, C here as a flat, and then you get an A, B, C before we get this larger A, B, C. So I want to see a really nice correction in here. If we do get a nice correction, well, that'll give me more confidence to sell. On the H4, it's really on the H1. If I quickly go down to the H1, like, we got like 1, 2, 3. We can get an A, B, C in here, wave 4, and then we get a wave 5 down. More than likely, we'll get a bear hidden here. So I'd be looking for the sell for a wave 5 down. There is no sell set up on it at this stage. For that, we need to go down to the lower time frames, which I'm not going to do on here. Get a nice impulse down on the lower time frames and a correction, and then we can start to look for that wave 5 down. Yeah. So if you want to learn how I trade, you can join the group. I'm sure you'll get a lot out of it, no matter what your skill level is. UCAD on the daily, looking at that 1, 2, 3. We're waiting for this larger wave 4 in here and get a wave 5 up. Like I mentioned last week, I mean, it really hasn't played out how I was looking at it with these arrows here. Well, I was looking for one down in here. Went a little bit too far, but if I just go down to the lower time frame, see what I had here last week. Looking for another one down in here. We got that. Like I said, I went a little bit further than I thought, but now I'll be looking for this. We get a larger correction, and after we get like an A, a B, C, well then we can get like another A, B, C, and then another 5 down or 3 down for a complex correction to fill in that time factor on that daily. So, like I mentioned, this could be quite choppy for some time. But yeah, at this stage, you're looking at this A, B, C down, and we've got this flat in the middle here. So, I'll be looking for an A, a B, and a C now. So on the lower time frames, if you got a flag or a correction in here, you could look for a very risky trade at this stage because it's not really giving us a nice setup. If I just go down to the M30, we'll see that why I don't really like it at this stage, because we have this bear hidden here. So this can come down and break the low again and give us like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down in here and then go. So yeah, again, you'll have to be quite careful because we do have a very clear bear hidden here. I mean, I don't think it's confirmed, but yeah, to be very careful. It's starting to slow down up the top here. So if we got a nice impulse down, a correction, well, you could look for that bear hidden and to go and break the low. But until you get this, there's you're staying out of it. You need a nice setup, well, nice correction and a setup to sell. And I wouldn't be looking for the buys. We've already got the bearish divergence on the M50 or the M5. So yeah. The Swissy, this has gone a lot further than I thought to. I was just looking. Well, ever since we had this wave up in here, I've been looking for a correction and then get a C up. Well, this is quite sharp. I wouldn't be surprised if it breaks the low here now. And we get some sort of an A, B, C, A, B, C before we get the larger A, B, C. So, because it never, it wasn't giving us the buy setups. It did try to give us a buy setup for here, but on the lower time frame, we got a nice impulse up there. It did go and break the top over here, but it was very corrective. There was something wrong. So, and as you can see, it was just a correction, and we fell over. We've lost all the bullish divergence now. So, I'd be looking for a larger correction and then more downside. At this stage, I mean, I'm in a buy down here somewhere, but on the lower time frames. But it's just it's a scalp, More than likely, we'll get a bear hidden in here and another one down. So yeah, I mean, there's no buy or sell on it at this stage. You have to be very careful here. If you're not already in it around here somewhere, you have to be very careful now because this can be an A, a B, and a C up, and it falls over from here. So if you're not in the buy already, you really want a really nice correction in here to buy. And if you don't get this, I'd leave it alone because more than likely it'll come down and break that low. If I do see something like this, a nice correction, well, I'll add for possible 5 up on the lower time frames. But yeah, I mean, at this stage, there's like I said, you got to be careful with the buy here, because this can be that A, B, C flat, and we go and break that low. Yeah, EG, and pretty much playing out how I was looking at it last week. Looking at that A, B, and a C up in here. We were looking at this last week to buy to go and break the top. It's done that. We've got the C up now. It's around this 100 fib. We got bearish divergence too. So now you have to be very careful. So we were looking at this last week. We had that nice impulse up, correction back to the 50 fib. It nearly got to the 61.8. And then, it took off and broke this top. So if you're not in this already, you pretty much, you might get a wave 5 out of it, but that's about it. You'd be looking for a wave 5 on the H1 if you're looking for the buy. You should be already in it though. But yeah, we may get like a bull hidden in here in a wave 4, and you trade that wave 5 up. But yeah, it's already completed that C up on the daily, so with the bearish divergence, so you got to be really careful here. If you get a nice correction, like I said, with a bull hidden and it's confirmed, well, you could look for that wave 5 up. WTI on the daily, we got this impulse down, impulse up, and whatever's happening in here is corrective. And it's turning quite complex. Sort of looking for this C up still. The structure here, like I showed last week, is very. It's still valid. I'd be looking for this up in here, but there is no buy setup. So until you get a buy setup, you can't just go and buy it because there's an arrow here. Need a nice setup, and there just isn't one at this stage. And looking at the H4, we've lost all the bullish divergence. So just get a correction in here. You could look for another one down, like 1, 2, 3. Get a wave 4 in here and a wave 5 down. If you remember, I was looking at this as a possible flat. I've been looking at that for a few months. Looking at this flat here, and eventually it's played out. And yeah, so the only thing, it's very much bearish still. So if we get a correction in here, you could look for a sell. On the real lower time frames, you may get a buy scalp out of it into this a B wave or a wave 4. There isn't nothing on it. Again, we've already had this nice impulse down, so you have to wait. You have to wait to see if we get a correction. If we get a correction, you could look for another sell. On the real lower time frames, if you got a nice impulse up and a buy setup, where you could look for a buy for a C up, and then you'd be looking for a sell. But yeah. Gold, we're still in that wave 3, and I'm waiting for this wave 4, and then we can trade this wave 5 up. We got that 1, 2, 3, waiting for this wave 4, and we can trade that wave 5 up there. H4, H4, there's really not much on it. It's more of a bull hidden here. So, until that low there's broken, it's going to be risky. I'm in a sell on this as well, but yeah, up in here. we had this bearish divergence in here on the H1. Then we had this nice impulse down. I think I did get in a sell somewhere else around here somewhere, and it took me out of break even. Oh, I think it was a buy for a C up. Well, we got a spike up. If I just zoom in a bit so you can see it. We got like an A, B, C in here. As soon as I seen that, the market fell over. So I got in up around here somewhere. It was a bad entry, but it was on the lower time frame, so it's not too bad. But it's that break even. It's really on the lower time frames. I'd be looking at the M30. We got like 1, 2. We're getting a wave 3 here. You wait for a wave 4, and then you trade a wave 5 down. There's really not much you can do here. You virtually have to wait for a correction this similar size over here, wherever this ends. This, this on the lower time frames may still come down and break this low. So, we're still in this wave 3, like this 1, 2, 3. You got to wait for this wave 4, and then you could trade a wave 5 down. So we got the 5 up. We got that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up, and then we had this 3 down in here, right, and 3 up. Like I mentioned last week, I'm more interested in the sell, and we did get that nice. It did fall over. So, like I said last week, we get 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we can get 3 down in here or 5 down, or it can just be an impulse. At this stage, it's just an impulse, but there's nothing to say that we don't get a correction in here, similar size to this in here, and we get another sell. So I'd be still very much bearish on this. You're not selling down here. You can't just sell down the bottom here. You have to wait for a correction. So, I'd be looking for some sort of a correction, a nice correction, and then you'd be looking for at least a C down. Till you get this, you're not selling. And you're really not a buy setup on it either. There may be on the lower time frames, but I'm not going to go down onto the real lower time frames. The RSC's videos will just take too long. But yeah, like on the H1, you could look for a wave 4. We sort of got a very choppy wave in here. Some sort of a correction. A wave 3. More than likely we'll get a bear hidden in here to look for another sell. Wait for the bear hidden, wait for a correction, and look for the sell. That's what I'd be doing. Bitcoin, we got the 5 up on this as well. Got this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It only just broke the top. The wave 5 didn't get to our targets. But, we've got a very choppy wave down in here. So look for a correction, and we can get 3 down in here. This is very difficult to trade, though. Last week we were looking for a sell to go and break the low. It didn't. It didn't break the low. But I've been looking at this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We lost that bullish divergence, so I was looking for a larger correction. We got an impulse up, and then we got 3 down breaking this low, like I mentioned last week. This was looking very corrective, so we were looking for a sell. It didn't go and break the low. But I think this is more complex. You get like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, I wouldn't be surprised if we get another 3 down there before we get an A, a B, and a C. Larger correction like we're looking for. We had those 5 down and we lost that bullish divergence, so I'm looking for a larger correction, and then I'll look for more downside. At this stage, I'd be leaving it alone altogether. There's nothing there, even on the lower time frames. There's nothing to trade here, so I'd be leaving it alone altogether at this stage. S&P 500, there was those 2 scenarios that I've been going over. This is either an A, B, C, and we go up and break at the top. That failed, and it failed on the lower time frames, even last week. So I was sort of looking for a larger correction and more downside. It's gone early, you know. Well, it shouldn't be on this time frame, but yeah, on the H1 we had that correction, and this is where I say that you know, that larger flat that I was looking at, you know, it either went from here or it failed. You know, I brought this. Can't remember exactly where, but in here somewhere for that wave C up. Well, you know, I was hoping it'd go and break the top with the ball. Well, with the flat, it failed, and we just got a C up, so there's no loss there. But then we had this impulse down correction, you know. It's gone and broken the low. So now you're looking for a wave 4, and you know, you're looking for like 1, 2, 3. We're still in this wave 3. You have to wait for a wave 4, and then we trade a wave 5 down until you get this. Like I say, you know, you got to wait for this before you look for a sell again. So yeah, and this wave in here may not be over yet. AU 200's finally fallen over, so it looks like this larger flat that I've got here. Looking for a C down. This C down. It's really on the weekly, but I mean, this gave us a nice opportunity. Very similar to S&P 500. Got the correction, and yeah, you get that sell. There's nothing you can do now. You're either in it or you're not. I think last week, I think we were in here somewhere, eh? I was thinking, oh, we get another one up in here, and then you'd be looking for a sell. It's definitely a sell. You know, we've got the bearish divergence on the daily, bearish divergence on the H4. But last week, I think we were getting this. I was thinking, okay, we'll get another one up in here. You have to be very careful with the buy because we get an A, a B, a C up, just breaking the top, and then it falls over. Well, we didn't get a real nice 3 up in here, but yeah, if you got on a sell, you would be doing well. It's the same as the other indices. You know, you got to wait for a wave 4 now, and you trade a wave 5 down. It was only a matter of time before the FTSE fell over, and same with the DAX here. You have to be careful with this one here, though, on the daily, because we do have a possible bull hidden. So, yeah, there is possible bull hidden until this low here gets broken. It's more of a flat too. In a wave 3, we've got 1 flat in here for 1, 2, 3. So you wait for the wave 4 and you trade the wave 5 down. So I hope you got something out of this weekly outlook. If you did, please hit the like button, share and subscribe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.